Hey guys. Alright, I'm just making sure I'm popping up in the right group because that would be fun. Yep, okay. All right, I see people are hopping on. Hey guys. So I will give it just a second because I know it takes a little while. So as you guys hop on, say hello. Oh, thank you. I got this at Loft. It's like beautiful weather. I live in Northern Virginia and it's like summertime right now. I have like my flip-flops on. I'm like, what in the world is going on? Thank you guys. Hey guys. All right, yay, you guys are all hopping on. Yay. All right, well, I will go ahead and get started now that you guys are hopping on because I know time is precious. That's actually what I'm talking about. So I wanted to introduce myself. My name is Jen Crowder. I get asked a lot, how do you do it with kids and how did you do this business while working full-time? And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself so you'll understand where those questions always come from. So most importantly, I am a mama of 5 boys, including a set of twins, and I know Kelsey had told me there's lots of twin moms in here, so that's super awesome. I definitely love twin moms because they totally get it. They get what we go through. I had 5 boys in 5 years. Yes, I'm slightly crazy then, but I was working as a full-time second grade teacher. About a year after I had my twins, they were the youngest in my family, I just was not in my pre-pregnancy clothes. I was not feeling like myself. I suffer from anxiety, and my anxiety, you guys, was like through the roof. And I knew something had to change. It was time to take back me. I had just been mom, wife, teacher for so long, and I was like, all right, we've got to find Jen again. So I started with Turbo Fire. I got put in my Coaches Challenge group. I was in there for just like a few weeks, and I signed up to be a coach. I loved the community. I loved the programs. I loved how I was feeling. But I was scared as crap to sign up as a coach. Like I said, 5 boys, working full-time as a second grade teacher. I had a very demanding teaching job. And, you know, I just really, truly felt called to do this. I didn't know what this was. I didn't know, you know, what this would turn into. I really wanted the discount off of Shakeology, and then if I could pay it forward and, you know, help one mama out there feel as amazing as I was feeling, it was totally worth it. So I would say about 2 to 3 months into coaching, though, I realized that, wow, this could be a vehicle for something that I have wanted since day one of finding out I was pregnant with my oldest. That this could be a vehicle to stay at home with my boys. I had always wanted to stay at home with my family. My mom was a workaholic growing up, so I went to before school care, I went to school, I went to after school care, and I was that little girl that was sitting there, last one to be picked up every day, and then it was like that rush home to, you know, make dinner, go to dance class, whatever. And I wanted something different for my boys, but I didn't know what it was. And when I saw that this was possible, I was like, you know what? I have a lot on my plate. People might call me crazy, but game on. I am not going to just let this opportunity sit in front of me and not go all in and go for it, because what if? What if this is exactly what I needed to make those dreams come true? So like I said, 2 to 3 months, I said game on, and I went for it. So I just want to share with you guys 5 of my tips, because those questions get asked to me a lot. Jen, how in the world do you run this business with, you know, 5 boys? How did you do this while working full-time? Because I did work as a full-time teacher for 14 months as as I was starting this business. And at that 14-month mark, I actually was able to walk away from my teaching job. I had surpassed my teaching salary, and I have been staying at home with my boys ever since. And guys, real quick disclaimer, I have 4 of them home right now with me. My twins didn't have preschool today, and 2 of the boys are sick. So if you see them, if they come down real life, I apologize. But I get to be here, and I didn't have to make sub plans. You know, they were sick, and I just got to be mom. So like I said, I want to share these 5 things. I don't want to take up your whole afternoon. And these are things that a lot of them you're probably going to be like, okay, I kind of knew that. Because guys, truly this business is so simple. It's so simple, but it's easy to get distracted and lost and, you know, just feel this anxiety and this busyness. So I'm going to share with you these 5 because these are the 5 that I have failed through this business and learned and have adapted. And, you know, I was telling Kelsey, my schedule basically as a coach looks exactly, almost identical to what it did when I was a full-time teacher, because now instead of being in the classroom during those, you know, times where I wasn't working my business, now I've just shifted it and now I'm present with my boys. So, but I want to share with you what that looks like, okay guys? So the first thing, and this is super important, yes, the anxiety, guys, you guys, you're going to hear me talk a lot about anxiety. I suffer from anxiety. This business actually has saved me. I still have it here and there. I think like 90% of the world does. And this first step, this is going to save you guys, and I'm going to talk about it, is truly getting intentional with your time. Getting intentional with your time. Whether you are a mom, you work full-time, you're going to school, we all know time is precious. Am I right? Like, it's precious. And so we really want to utilize it. We can let the day rule us, or we can rule the day. And I don't know about you, but that second part sounds a lot more exciting to me. You truly are the pilot of your own airplane. You can really design your day how you want it. Yes, we have responsibilities. We have responsibilities at work. We have responsibilities at school. We have responsibilities being a parent. But it doesn't consume our 24 hours. There are those little pockets of time, and I'm going to talk about that today. The first thing is, with being intentional with your time, you guys, the 4 vital behaviors, they have to be a non-negotiable. You've got to look at your schedule and find a way, even if it means being creative, and I'll share some ways that I got creative, to get them in. And the reason that I say that is, compare this business to your fitness journey, okay? Right now, I'm doing Insanity Max 30, which, if any of you guys have done that, holy heck, Shanti kicks my booty. But, you know, I can't expect to show up and do Insanity Max 30 and expect a six-pack, you know, six-pack abs if I'm eating pizza every day. You know, I've got to make sure I'm following the program. I need to make sure my nutrition is in check. I can't pick and choose what I want to do. And that's the exact same thing with this business. It's like they're all little puzzle pieces. And when you do them, and you do them over time, which I'm going to talk about, it's like that's the little secret sauce. I think sometimes we are waiting for someone to, you know, do a video or to, you know, say something that's like, whoa, mind-blowing, like, wow, she's been keeping that secret to herself this whole time. No, it's the 4 vital behaviors. It truly is. However, each of us, because we're different, and that's the beauty of this business, we can, you know, do it a little bit differently, but it goes back to those 4 vital behaviors. So what I like to do, I have this like little plan book. I am totally a paper pencil gal. Like, I've tried online things. If that works for you, amen. To me, paper pencil. And what I love to do is, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit later, is each day I make a to-do list. I do my top 3. And there's always a fourth one in there, and that is my vital behaviors. I've got to do it. I mark it in there. There's something about, I don't know, maybe it's the teacher in me, the mom in me, I don't know, but I love being able to cross things off. So I put in there, 4 vital behaviors to make sure that I am getting that done each day. Because your time is precious, you need to make sure you are establishing some sort of schedule, some sort of business hours, or you are going to feel overwhelmed. Thankfully, when I was teaching, I got really good at finding little pockets of time and, saying, okay, this is when I'm going to do this. This is when I'm going to do that. Because, I didn't have a lot of time. So, for example, when do you check your inbox? I mean, how many of you guys are a slave to your inbox? That was me. Like the first few weeks of coaching, my husband was like, what are you doing on your phone? And it was like, ding, ding, I was checking my inbox. And I had to let that go and say, all right, you know what? I'm going to be checking my messages, checking my inbox at this time. I'm going to check it at this time. And I had to set that and get really strict with myself, because otherwise I was wasting my time, where I could just sit down and say, all right, this is my inbox checking time, and I can hammer it out with no distractions versus trying to just do things here and there all over the place. Having a set time, I'm going to share this little tip with you guys, of when you want to invite people or you're following up, having a set time of like, hey, right now is my follow-up time. I'm going to, carve out 15 minutes, each day, this right after, the kids go down for nap or on my drive to work. And I'm going to tell you how I used to do that. But, breaking it out and getting intentional with those little pockets of time. When I was working full-time, guys, the way that I would do messages, if you guys don't use voice messenger, you're totally missing out, because not only is it so much more personal, it is a time saver. So what I would do is the night before, I would just take my sticky note and I would say, all right, these are the people that I'm going to either, reach out to, build that relationship with, or follow up with. And I'd go to work in the morning and I'd take my sticky note with the names and I'd put it right on my dashboard. And as I was driving to work, sitting at the light, just leaving a voice message as I was driving. And guess what? Each day I made sure I invited or I followed up. It was so simple. And when people tell me like, well, I don't have time, you do, you truly have time. Or, if you're in the middle of doing laundry or putting dishes away, that's a perfect time to utilize the voice messenger. Or personal development. You can't catch me in this house doing like chores, laundry, dishes without listening to personal development. I am constantly looking for those little times to say, all right, I've got Audible, I'm going to do my personal development, or I'm going to catch up on a training, or if I miss the national wake-up call, I utilize those times so that those other moments when I'm not doing laundry or, while I was a teacher, driving to work, that I can use that to spend with my family. Because let's be honest, why did I become so passionate about coaching? Because I wanted to be present for my family. I wanted to be present. So instead of me being glued to my phone 24/7 and then just feeling overwhelmed, just looking for those little pockets of time and getting creative with it. So that, because for me, and if you have, a solid hour, 2 hours to sit down, crank out your power hour, more power to you. I don't think I have the attention, first of all, to sit and do that. It's like squirrel, over here. I do really great in like 15, 20 minutes. So, plus just being busy. So looking for those pockets of time and just getting creative with what works for you. Now, I could share with you guys exactly what my schedule looked like, but it wouldn't really mean a whole lot because you're different than me. You like to do things differently. So allow yourself, to sit down and, trial and error. Does this work? Can I do this here? But have a schedule. You've got to have a schedule. Otherwise, nothing gets done. And I'm saying that because when I transitioned from full-time teacher to full-time mommy, and I didn't really have this structured schedule anymore because I wasn't going to work, the first month of my business, I was a hot mess. I was a hot mess, guys. I was like, what the heck am I doing? And I was like, gosh, Jen, you've been coaching for like a year and a half now. You were able to quit your job, and now you're like, you don't even know what to do? And it was because I just I had all of this extra time, and I wasn't sure how to utilize it. And so I was chasing squirrels. I was chasing sparkly things. And then when I had to remind myself, all right, well, what has worked for you? Setting those schedules, being intentional with your time. I went back to that, and then that's when I saw my business take off again. The second thing about being intentional is setting boundaries. And I talked a little bit about this. When you do have those pockets of time, or if you are doing your power hour in a larger time, you've really got to, avoid any distractions. For me, if it was, checking in with my challengers, my phone was put away, and maybe I'm sitting at my computer, and that's where I'm at. I'm like, all right, timer's on, 15 minutes, go time. I'm zoning in so that then I can check that off my list, and then now I can go, be present with my boys or whatever I need to do, start dinner. But setting those boundaries, letting, and I'm going to talk a little bit about this too, but, letting your coaches know too that, hey, these are the times that I'm available, because we can all get caught up, we love our teams, we love our challengers, we love our coach friends, but we can get so caught up in just being distracted that when it's work time, and that's your business hour schedule, whatever it is, like, you've got to really zone in. If it means, I'm not kidding you guys, like, I sometimes, put the headphones on, tune out the world, and it's like, go. The next thing, and this is really important with being intentional with your time, is getting organized. The moments that I feel like a real hot mess express, and I'm anxious and I'm overwhelmed, it's because I didn't set myself up for the week. Usually on Sundays, that's actually my day where I give myself a pass from not having to feel like I had to check off everything for my 4 vital behaviors. That's usually my rest day, and it's my planning day and getting organized and getting, my meals prepped, and getting my business prepped. So what I do, my planner, does anybody in here like making lists? I'm a huge list maker, but I realized I used to make lists, and I'd have this big long list, and then I'd sit down and I would like get hives on my body. I was like, I don't even know what to do, this list is crazy. So, but I make one still, and this is what I do with it. So I've got this big list, and it might be, things I have to do as a mom. It might be business things, whatever it is. I've got this list for the week. And then each night, before the next day, so like today's Thursday, I actually sit down and I look at my big list, and I'm like, all right, what are 3 things? What are 3 things that I can accomplish tomorrow? Now, if tomorrow I am taking the boys to the doctors or whatever, my day is crazy, I might, scale it back and say, all right, realistically, let's get these 2 things done. Or if tomorrow is a day where I do have a little bit more time, I might say, all right, let me add 1 more. But I don't go crazy. I don't say, all right, I'm going to make this list of 10 things, because what happens is you get burnt out, and then you do nothing, and then you sit and complain, and you're like, man, why is my business not working? And you realize it's because you're overwhelming yourself. So, you make that list and then just break it up. I love the number 3, just sitting down and making 3 tasks to accomplish each day. Also, planning out social media content. That saved me when I was teaching. Sundays, I would sit down, I would plan out, I would even craft some of my posts or different ideas so that, when it was time to share something, I wasn't sitting there scrambling and feeling like I just have to post. I already had value created, and I could just plug it in, post it on social media, and be ready to go. So that helped a lot with just, dialing back to the basics, making it simple so you weren't feeling so busy and stressed during the work week. Stockpiling photos was another little tip to like stay organized. My phone, constantly, if I, catch myself doing something that I'm like, oh, that would make a really great idea to share, I'm taking pictures, and I'm keeping them on my phone so that, I already have content ready if I need to share something, or I have a great idea that pops into my head. So that's just a little tip of, if you're doing personal development, snapping a picture. And it doesn't mean, I tell my coaches, like, don't just be like, oh, I'm doing personal development, I'm going to take a picture and I'm going to post it now. No, because, maybe you need to do some thinking beforehand, how are you going to share that? How are you going to add value? But it's great to have the picture already there, so when it's, time to post, you're not like, oh my gosh, I got to take a picture, I need this. So that's just a great tip to do. And then, with being intentional with your time, you guys, allow yourself at the end of the week, at the end of each month, to really just see, are the things I'm doing, are they really business building activities, or are they time wasting? I think that is so important, because I can look back at, what I did during the week, and I can be like, wow, I kind of wasted time here and there that I shouldn't have. Maybe moving forward, I need to make sure I'm not doing that. I'm not getting lost in scrolling on the social media news feed, because let's be honest, how many of us, that's where we get lost, and we're watching what everybody else is doing versus just going at it and doing it ourselves. So those are some ideas and ways to be intentional with your time. And like I said, that was going to be the big chunk of what I wanted to talk about, because that is so important. And that's where we, as coaches, we get lost. We just are kind of wasting our time, and then we say, man, we don't have time. I don't have time for this business. And it's like, well, yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. You're just not plugging in where you really need to. The second thing is to be okay with making sacrifices. I knew that, I wanted to stay at home. I wanted to stay at home with my boys so bad. I had that vision. It was that, feeling in the morning, I woke up and I would just, feel that fire burning, like, gosh, I want to quit my job. I want to stay at home with them. So what did that mean? That meant, okay, well, maybe you're not watching your favorite TV shows. Maybe you're going to have to cut that out, and you're going to cut that out right now. It doesn't mean forever. It just means, to me, my why, my vision was greater than sitting down and watching Game of Thrones. I would DVR it, and if I had time, maybe I got through all of my stuff. That was my reward. The other thing, and this was really, really hard for me, guys, I am a perfectionist and kind of OCD with certain things. The Lord granted me 5 boys to kind of break that. But I had to let go of having a clean house 24/7. I had to let go of certain things and realize that was okay. I felt like, gosh, my house has to always be perfect. I have to be perfect here. And then I had to say, what is the most important thing? Do I want my boys to remember that our house was perfect and looked like a model home? Or do I want them to remember my mom was able to quit her job and to, stay at home with me and be present and, go on my field trips, come and have lunch with me? And I was like, wow, okay, that when you put it that way, that makes so much more sense. And I had to let go of that. And I had to be okay. And I had to cringe a little bit when I saw, some of the laundry getting piled up, and remind myself, it's okay, deep breaths, why are you doing this? And, make those little sacrifices, because they're sacrifices that are temporary, guys. They're temporary for a bigger picture, and you've got to be okay, though, with that. Remember, coaching, this is the answer to having all of those things, to be able to, have the freedom to eventually, watch more TV, to have the freedom to, financially, if you want to get a maid somewhere down the road, this coaching is such a vehicle for so many things, and you just have to sometimes remember those sacrifices are totally worth it. The third thing, communication. Communication, guys. When you are short on time, communicating is going to be your best friend. And I mean communicating to your spouse, communicating to your coaches, communicating to your challengers. Let your coaches, your challengers know when you're available. Like, hey guys, I check my inboxes at these times, so they're not blowing you up and you're feeling guilty that, oh my gosh, so-and-so is sending me a message and I can't get to it right now because I don't know about you, but that causes me anxiety. So letting them know what your schedule is. For my husband, I had to create a master schedule. I have a big calendar in our laundry room, and I put all of the family events, baseball. I live at the baseball field, guys. Baseball, doctor's appointments. I put my team calls, anything where I need to be plugged in to my business, I put them up there, and I communicate to my husband. I'll say, hey, I've got a team call tomorrow night at 8:30. I just wanted to give you a heads up. And the reason that I say that is, for a while there, it was, my husband walking in the door and I'm like, hey, can you watch the kids? I've got to go do this. And, it's not fair. It's not fair to just, spring things on people. And, I could see my husband was kind of resenting the business a little bit when I was doing that. And all I had to do to change that was to communicate and just give him a heads up. And, if I needed to, do something extra, with the business, or I needed to put together a training and I need a little bit more help from him to watch the kids or maybe help with laundry. It's just, all I had to do was communicate. And it's so silly, but we forget that. And just letting them know why you're doing it, giving them a heads up. And so that master schedule has been amazing because, it puts my business stuff on there, the boys stuff, and, we kind of got a game plan knowing what's happening when. And then also being comfortable delegating tasks, not just to your spouse or significant other, but to your team and your coaches. I think that is a great way to allow your coaches to take on leadership roles. Hey girl, do you mind helping me with this Emerald group that we're running? Or hey, can you do the post in here for me? Being comfortable delegating and communicating, that's going to help you, and it's going to take, all of the pressure off your shoulders, feeling like you're doing everything. The fourth thing is staying consistent. So, we've got the 4 vital behaviors, we're doing them, and it's so easy, guys, to just, take your foot off the brake because you're not seeing things happen right away. I love to compare this business to a merry-go-round. So, pretend we're at the playground, there is this merry-go-round. That's like you as a new coach. You're going over there and your business doesn't just happen. You've got to put some work in it. And it doesn't happen right away. So you start getting that merry-go-round going, and you keep going, and you keep going. And eventually what happens is momentum starts going. Am I right? But you can't, you can't say, woohoo, yay, things are happening, momentum's happening, I'm going to stop pushing. Because what's going to happen then in your business is it's going to start slowing down. You've got to keep it going, and you got to stay consistent with it. Because what's so hard, and guys, and I'm speaking because this has happened to me, I've been there, I've done that. The moment that you let that merry-go-round stop, I'm not kidding you, it's like 2 classrooms full of kids came out and plopped down on that merry-go-round, and now you got to get that thing going, but now you've got like 20 kids on there, and you're like, dear Lord, can I get this thing going? And it just seems so hard. So, my biggest piece of advice there is just to stay consistent with it, even if you don't see things happening yet. I always tell my team, the people that you're talking to now, those are the people that are going to be in your free group next month, or they're going to be your challengers 2 or 3 months from now. Everything that you're doing now is setting you up for later. So, staying consistent. And with that, some of my favorite things, because sometimes it is hard to stay consistent, do that thing that you dread the most. Do that first, because, consistency is hard, and usually we tend to drop off the thing that we don't like doing. For me, that was inviting. I am a natural introvert. I did a post yesterday, and I think my social media was like, you're an introvert? And I'm like, yeah. Coaching has really brought me out of my shell, but, I am an introvert, and messaging was uncomfortable for me. And so I made it, that was one of my first things that I did each day, because I wanted to make sure I got it done, because it's so easy, those things that are hard, when life gets busy or you're not seeing things happen right away, to just start, saying, all right, I'm going to stop doing this. I'm going to stop doing this. So do that thing first. And then the last thing, guys, and this is so silly, but it's so true, is especially when you're busy and you're really just trying to zone into the basics and keeping it simple, you've got to let go of perfect. You've got to let go of perfect. That is hard, coming from a self-proclaimed perfectionist, but it's so true. I mean, how many of us sit there and spend so much time on the perfect post or the perfect graphics, or trying to reinvent the wheel and come up with something new because we want the best. And we've got to learn to be okay with done is so much better than having it perfect, and just doing those things. I can't tell you guys enough how much I have failed in this business and have learned to let go. Inviting was a big area for me. I felt like I had to have this perfectly scripted, post or message, invite. And so because of that, when I first started coaching, I used a lot of scripted messages because I was so fearful. I wanted the perfect one. I wasn't comfortable just being Jen and just having conversations with people. And what happened is it backfired. I would message Sarah and it would say, hey, Katie. Or my favorite one, guys, I'm not kidding you, I sent it to someone, and in parentheses in the message it said, this is where you plant the coaching seed. Well, I sent that to them. And I was like, oh my gosh. So, letting that go and just say, you know what, I'm going to put this out there. I'm going to ask for help if I need it. I'm going to just do the best. I mean, I cringe sometimes looking at some of my old posts back in the day, but I'm so thankful that I just posted things and I got better at it, and I didn't let my fear of, gosh, I have to be perfect here or I have to be perfect there. I mean, I love when my team calls me out on mistakes, because it's like daily. They're like, Jen, you posted the wrong date on this, or Jen, you spelt this wrong in your post, or Jen, whatever. And I like that because that's real. We're real people, and we want, people just to know we're real. And, don't let perfect, hold you back from diving in, because then you're wasting your time. You're not dialing down and keeping this business simple. You're feeling busy because you're making yourself busy. So the last little thing that I want to add, and then I will scroll through and see if you guys had any questions or anything, is, we're all busy. We're all busy. So sometimes when we feel busy, we're like, gosh, I feel busier than this person. I have 5 boys. I worked full time, but guess what? I am sure some of you are busy as well. You might just be busy in different areas. The secret, though, is to realizing that, even though you're feeling busy right now, you're going to make this the right time to dive into your business. You're going to choose to make this the time that you can dive into your business, and you're going to keep it simple. From what I gave you guys, pick, 2 to 3 areas that you're like, you know what, maybe I'm not communicating enough, or maybe I don't really have business hours. Pick 2 to 3 things and just start implementing them and see what happens. And then the biggest thing, just don't lose sight of why you're doing this. I know for me, my big vision was to be more present for my family. And if I was, logged into my phone or on the computer 24/7, I would lose sight of, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to be present, and I'm doing the complete opposite. So, just get creative and smart with it. So dive in, guys, take action, reflect on what's working, what's not working, make those changes where needed, stay hungry for this. Be consistent, and I promise you, you guys are going to nail 2017. You're going to look back and be like, who the heck was the girl or guy that started this year? Because I am, 10 times further than I was when I started. I am rocking it. I'm doing this thing. So thank you guys. Hopefully I didn't talk too much. I had a lot to share with you guys. I just wanted to, let me see. I'm going to scroll through just in case you guys had questions or anything. Let me look. And hopefully I didn't go too fast. Yes, definitely get over perfect. Get over perfect. It drives me so crazy because that's me. That was me. And I still, I still battle it. But it wastes your time. Like, I had to have the perfect house. No, I didn't. I didn't have to have the perfect house. I had to have the perfect post. No, I didn't. Like, we just create these things in our mind and tell ourselves these stories. And it's a bunch of baloney. Let's see. You guys are so cute, by the way. I love your comments. Ooh, I'm moving my camera. Well, I will go through, and if there's anything that you guys needed or had any questions, I will put it on there. Thank you, Kelsey, for inviting me. I hope something that I said, you're taking a takeaway from it. So enjoy the rest of your day. It is beautiful here, so I am definitely going to enjoy the sun. So take care, guys. Bye.